So you're your own torturer. You just pull your own hair.
Yep. Some of us use
Welcome.
one earbud for audio. Some of us take it seriously.
Get down, Mr. President. Welcome to the Backpack Show. Post Thanksgiving in the United States, just regular old Friday everywhere else on the planet.
Black Friday here.
Black Friday. It is an unbelievable holiday. I think it's really funny how Amazon's advertisements all have a bright yellow and white, so they're kind of looking like Home Depot. It's like they're in cosplay for Black Friday. It's a really weird choice. Bless your strange hearts, Amazon.com.
I don't know. I will do a little shopping online, but it's almost never for gifts. It's like stuff I needed anyway. And I'm like, haha, I'm getting it 30% off. Just because I waited for today.
But boy, you could save up to 47% if you want to buy a TV with Fire installed in it. I
do not. So funny story about one of our guests today. I was looking up equine massage therapy because I heard it was a thing and I forget how. Oh, I'm in Tennessee, so I'm sure somebody was just talking about it. And I went to look up equine massage therapists and I got flagged by like our work computer. Like, you're trying to go to a porn site. I was like, I'm not though. And I had to talk to the person in charge of security and be like, I promise it wasn't porn. Like, equine massage is an actual thing. It's not like a euphemism for anything.
So why were you looking that up, Carrie?
Just because I was interested. So that's a career is interesting to me.
Really?
And yes.
Why am I asking you that question as the lead into who our guest is today?
Chelbie Engle, who is an equine massage therapist. And how I found her was looking for an equine massage therapist. So, I mean, that's not much of a story when you get down to that. But me being flagged for porn, I feel like that was a story.
Oh, that is a story. It was just a great transition that, just... Oh, there it is.
Smart aleck.
Look at my transition, just laying there like a stick. And we have a second guest.
I knew you'd handle it.
We haven't done class. Handle some things. We haven't had two guests in a while, have we? But who better to bring back as a guest than V. Castro, one of our favorite horror authors, the person who brings the fire and the spice, and who wrote the book Aliens Vasquez, who she hinted was coming out when we last talked to her, and now it's out and in your hot little hands.
Yes. And she's got a new book coming out in April, I think, called The Haunting of Alejandra, and a Christmas short story. And all her stuff is really hot. So if you're going to be spending some time with your family over the holidays and you can like duck back to your childhood bedroom, have this book with you.
We'll find out shortly. Backpack Show. That one's short.
You think?
Yeah,
I think they're all the same length.
13 seconds.
Hi,
Did
Carol.
we lose the other one? I don't know. Listen
Chloe.
to this one. Hi, Carol, Chloe, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
All right.
So do you want to do sponsors now or you want to get somebody out here? You want to talk about massaging horses?
Oh, that's the nighttime one. Well, I thought we had brand new intros or something. Oh, yeah, they're way down low. Ready? Watch.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gargone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
Did you see V. Castro was in that one?
V. Castro is in that one.
Yes.
As is, I might have also seen Mistress Harley.
Oh.
Ah!
Did you notice Mistress Harley, did you?
Did you see how much I just knocked my camera over? Sure, I noticed.
She's got such pretty eyes.
She has very beautiful eyes. I think that she might have two of them, as far as I know. Let's grab Chelbie. I want to talk about horses, and then we'll grab V. Castro. Which we might, I don't know. This could be dangerous because we're waiting for kids. So, like, it could go either way.
That's true. Right. That's true. We can always put them all in.
Chelbie Engle, why in the world did you say, I think I would like to do massage on a creature that requires a ladder to do
it? So that's a fun story. I started my career in veterinary medicine. I've been a vet med since I was 16. One of my best friends actually lives out in Oregon, and she gave me a phone call and said, hey, what are you doing the weekend of so-and-so? I'm going to massage therapy school for horses. I'm like, hey, that sounds fun. I want to go too. That's going to be great. Now, keep in mind, I'm on track for like pre-vet med type stuff at this point in time. And I'm like, that sounds fun. So I went for a week out of the blue to massage therapy school and absolutely fell in love with it. And we were in the barns 12 hours a day with your hands working on horses, and the horses were amazing to work with. The releases and just the experiences you had, I was hook, line, and sinker sold at that point. That completely changed my entire career path.
So it's a matter of health. Oh, you're muted, Chris.
I was going to say, because Carrie's got a really important question, but I'm going to ask my dumb one first. You're going to have to ask us with just help us with a little bit of vocabulary, because when you say horse release, that's what got Carrie blocked. So what in the world do you mean when you're saying
so releases with horses are tension relief. So you could have licking and chewing their lips. You could have big yawns. You could just have them cocking a leg, so taking a leg and resting it. You could have blink responses where they sit there and they'll steady blink their eyes or lower their head and neck. There's a lot of just subtle things with massage therapy. It's one of the things that I've learned over the years is you have to be really good at reading horse body language, because horses talk very, very subtly, and someone who's not used to horses will come up or will try and work with one and they're not sure of what exactly the horse is saying, so they don't do quite as good of a job like if I'm teaching an owner or someone how to do certain homework, because I'll leave owners with homework at time and exercises. You really have to go over and kind of even tell them how to read their own horses at times, because horses are so subtle in their body language.
So I was just thinking that, a massage for a person feels like a luxury, right? Like we don't often make time for it because we're so busy and all that stuff. So getting a massage for your horse wouldn't seem like it'd be a top priority, but for them, it's a health question, right?
Definitely. And I work with a lot of athletes. I work with horses from your top show horses. So your hunters, your jumpers. So the ones that are jumping out in the stadiums, the crazy kids who are out going cross country at 90 miles an hour, jumping jumps that are way taller than they are. Your reiners, your dressage horses, so the ones that look like they're dancing in a ring. I work with a lot of these horses, and massage is a very integral part of their training process, just because they couldn't do some of the things that they do and the things that we ask of them without a little help, because they get the same restrictions that we do, except we're asking them to do something that is not natural. That's not something they're naturally going to do out into a field. I get to work with actually one of my really good clients and friend. Her daughter actually just competed in the largest U.S. individual mounted games competition here in the United States and won the whole thing. So she's actually the top rider in all of the United States. For mounted games, and mounted games is actually really fun. We're starting to do that with my horse too. It's kind of like relay racing, but it was created in England, and it's just random little things like picking a cup up, putting it on another, picking it off one pole and putting it on another pole, and then but you're racing against a bunch of different people at the same time. It's pretty fun.
Carol was expecting a Chris ad read. Apparently, she's disappointed you didn't get right to that, Chris.
StreamYard, Castro, put some dot online. Pre-search. Hey, there you go. There's some ads.
That's really effective. Get your horse rubbed.
But look, Dot Online, they're going to send me some Christmas gift or something. So that was a good one. Sponsored by Dot Online. Go to seabrook.net/online. Enter the code Chris in whatever kind of characters you want.
You'll all caps. It has to be in all caps.
Look at that duck. Look, Chelbie could give a massage to that duck. It's all bent. Terry made this graphic. It's bent
just
duck.
how it looks. It's just standing in it.
Okay, so
horses. Body shame the duck.
Do horses have like fascia and stuff like that we humans do? Is it the same kind of stuff? Did you have to learn human massage before you learned horse? Because what if you have to do like a were horse or something?
Lord help me if that is ever something that I have to come across. But no, didn't have to do people. Although I get asked almost on a weekly basis on if I do people at the same time. So it's kind of entertaining. I entertained it at one point in time going to massage therapy school for people, but then the more I thought about it, people are just gross. So I'd rather work with
It's so true.
Well, but you got to imagine that there's one little difference. I don't imagine a person would just full on start off and take a dump while you're massaging them. That's going to happen with horses.
No, it does quite often. As a matter of fact, almost every single one.
There you go. Because that's probably one of those signs you were saying you're looking for. You didn't want to say it because you're not me. But like in my mind, if that was like, oh, that felt so good.
A lot of them, they just start releasing tension to a deep-seated point, like way down into their body. A lot of them will pee during a massage. Almost every single one of them will take a poop during their massage because they get their guts working. And when their intestines start working, things start moving. So it's naturally, it's got to go somewhere.
Where do horses like hold their tension? You know how a lot of people hold tension in certain places.
Yeah, there are 3 key joints in horses. They can hold it anywhere, but the 3 key joints is your pole atlas, so right behind the head, because horses only sleep about 20 minutes a day when they're laying down. Other than that, you got to think they're holding 50 to 80 pounds on a joint about this big around. So I mean, it's they hold a lot of pressure and tension in that area. The second one would be your shoulders, where your neck and shoulders come together. There's a lot of tension that goes through there. A lot of horses work off their forehand. And your third being your sacroiliac or your sacrum. So like our lower back, L4, L5, kind of that area. That goes their pelvis is a little bit different than ours, but at the very back where your sacrum comes in, so your pelvis kind of attaches into your lower back. That's a very big moving part, and that's where a lot of restriction comes through on your hind end. So if you see a horse that's short strided, a lot of times they can have some restrictions in their sacrum.
Are there the equivalent of, like, say, sports medicine? Because that's what I'm putting you in the category of, you're in horse sports medicine. Because of, like, when you're explaining those riders who, I don't even know how you try to explain that thing with running really fast to play with some cups. But whatever, like, I'm a northern gentleman. My aunt did dressage horses, though. So to me, like, what I'm catching is she still has a barn with some leftovers in it. And the kinds of challenges those kinds of animals have dressage, I would imagine, is they do a lot of rapid motion kind of stuff. There's a lot of, like, you know, sort of unnatural for a horse to do kind of movements. So do they have, is there part of what you do that extends a horse's usability, which I think sounds like a gross way to ask that question, but is that part of it?
It is. It definitely is, because when you start working with horses, I've had horses that have been retired for many, many years that the owners haven't been riding, to where they're putting them back under saddle. They might be used as lesson horses again. Or I've had horses that weren't performing very well, and you start adding in body work, and they go from, you know, take a barrel horse, for instance, the one with the 3 barrels. I've had a horse take a complete second off of their time, all off the same arena. So the same arena, same horse, same rider, everything is the same, except we just added in massage. And I've had a horse take an entire second off of that run. That's a big deal when you're in timed events like that, because that's a completely different league. You're in a different class at that point.
So there's actually money to be made from keeping your horse in optimal condition. Like, so is that part of your sales pitch? Like, do you ever even pitch, or do people just come to you by referral?
Little of both. For instance, I'm on vacation right now in Pigeon Forge with some family, and we went to the Dixie Stampede yesterday. Well, I was kind of asking the waiter at the time. I'm like, hey, do you guys use massage? I would love to even just volunteer the time, because, you know, Dolly Parton's done so much for Tennessee in general, but my younger nieces and nephews benefit from the book program that she does. So even just giving a little bit back to someone who's given so much back, but they don't do volunteer work. So I was kind of hem-hawing around it yesterday, and I was like, well, heck, if they only work on private contract, I'm going to go up and throw a business card out and see if I have any bites or anything. But most of the time, no. Most of the time, I usually, people usually get to me by referral, by word of mouth. I'll very rarely will do expos anymore. I do the Equine Expo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee every year. I say every year. Last year was my first year, but I'll do it again this coming year. But that one's a lot of fun. But other than that, it's pretty much off of my Facebook page and my Instagram, and people find me.
Cool.
Deb says, comment of the day, people are just gross.
Right.
That's perfect. All right, Chelbie, we're going to transition you. We're going to stick you backstage. Stick around if you can, because we'll ask you some more questions near the end.
Sure.
But we're going to make a totally awkward transition. It'll make no sense. Boop. Hey, let's talk to V. Castro. Hi, V.
Hello.
Do you ever get your horse rubbed?
I mean, I hope people, you know, get their little rub on when they're reading my books, but you know, especially the one, I've got a few that, you know, they're for turn the lights down low and
You have a hot
massage
little
someone you
holiday,
love or massage
hot little
yourself.
holiday novelette.
Yes, Las Posadas. It's just a little ebook thing. You can just find it on Amazon with my name and on Twitter. I'll put it on Instagram and Hive and what else is happening? What other social
Everybody's
medias are out
so
there now?
many things now.
I know. TikTok, Lord. But it's like we're about all on Twitter still. So I'm like confused, but okay.
Can't imagine where in all this social media-ing you find time to write because you're very prolific.
You know, I just set time aside to just do that and get it done. And then the rest, yeah, I just love to write. I just do it whenever I can. When the kids go to bed, and then when my mind gets struck by lightning, or I just do it. Yeah, I don't know. I think when you have a passion for something, it just kind of, it flows and it works out. I mean, listen to Chelbie, like that whole story, like, wow, that's really cool. She's like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do. I love that.
Yeah, just from saying yes one day and being game to try something different.
Yeah, absolutely. You
There's
never
so
know.
many of your heroines. So do you write the naughty bits first, V, or does the whole story come to mind? Like, what's your process?
You know what? The sexy stuff, I've said this before, like sometimes you just feel like the moment, or like it's part of the story, it's part of the character's personality, and also like, it's pretty natural. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have had sex many times in their lifetime. So it's writing an entire book without it, I don't know, from what I've written, seems strange. And when it comes to the relationships in the books, so it just kind of evolves that way. I like the stories to just kind of happen organically and see where it goes. Actually, there was more sex in Aliens Vasquez, and I had to edit it out. They were like, "Can you really? Can you pull it back a little bit? Can you pull it back a little bit?"
Are you gonna put it on your website? Be like, get all the sex that was cut out of the PG-13.
That's an interesting premise.
You should.
Here's the sex scenes they cut from Aliens Vasquez.
Too hot for Aliens Vasquez.
It's owned by Disney, so I'd probably get sued.
Good point.
Bummer.
All right, I do want to ask a few aliens questions because you
Yeah.
have to. We talked about this when you mentioned that the book project was coming out. I made the joke, because it's an easy one to make, that Vasquez's future's kind of finite. And you said to me, well, there's some ways I could do something with it. And I was like, please don't say time travel. Please don't say time travel. Is it giving away too much of the book to explain how you carry the story on past Vasquez's death?
No, not at all. And it's so funny because like the book just came out and there's like one-star review, and it was for someone that was like, I was expecting an entire book about Vasquez. And I was like,
did you see Aliens, dude?
And then not only that, I put on Twitter the gif of, Jeff Goldblum, like, you will have dinosaurs on this dinosaur tour, right? Right? So basically the way I did it, because according to the canon, and that was another thing I was reading this review, like, dude, I didn't come up with this. I had bosses to answer to. According to the canon, she was actually quite young when she died. So and there's no kind of backstory about Earth or her life on Earth. So I had it where she had 2 children. She had 2 babies really young and had this life based on canon that I had to work with. And so, I give the backstory up to her death and then follow the Vasquez name. That's why it's Aliens Vasquez, because it's about a family.
Right.
It's about her legacy and her backstory. And so the way I framed it was, because you have these twins, these 2 kids who don't have their mother, their father, they also don't know their father, but the closest thing they have is their mother, and they both kind of want to make her proud and have a piece of her. So they each actually choose to go into, I guess, careers that influenced by her. So Ramon goes to Weyland-Yutani as an executive. And Leticia, she becomes a colonial marine. I wanted to bring in kind of, our culturally, how we're really, with like Dia de los Muertos, the importance of ancestors and people who've passed. So they're living with their aunt, Jenette's sister, who keeps her memory alive. And so that's what inspires these two kids. And I thought that was like a nice progression to get them to follow where she went. And then you can get like nasty xenoparasites and xenos killing people and Weyland-Yutani causing chaos as they do. So yeah, that's kind of how I did it.
Was this a difficult book for you? Because like you pointed out, the fact that there's so much canon, and that you actually get a lot of compliments for that in the early reviews. You get a lot of people saying, she really put in a whole bunch of other aliens lore. There's all kinds of little stubs here there, because you covered, the military background of the family. Like if you just covered the Vasquez family, it was a full book. But what you did was you really layered in the alien stuff, and you got a lot of credit for it. Does that make it a harder book for you to have written?
No, because I really love it. I've loved the films for like forever. I've seen all of them like many, many times. And it's just like a fantastic franchise. I just love it. I love working with that particular creature and the lore and Weyland-Yutani, and certainly with kind of the way we're seeing businesses go. Weyland-Yutani is not like that far off. And also the kind of people that run Weyland-Yutani. Not far off. So, it's really interesting to play with those concepts to make it real, but also bring in the cultural background, bring in different sci-fi elements. But yeah, no, I think when you're passionate about something, you have an idea, there's an element of flow. So I wrote it in like 10 weeks.
Do your other books take place in the same universe? Like, are there also rules? Is there canon that you consider when you're writing your other novels?
No. So IP, you have to, but everything else, I'm just like, what do I want to do today? Who's going to get killed and who's going to have sex and who's going to,
Sometimes on the same day. Sometimes at the same time.
No. Well, something
like Kevin Bacon in the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Las Posadas is really interesting.
Why a Christmas novelette?
I don't know.
I need to get into that too. I have so many questions.
Oh, no, it's okay. I had this story and I was like, why the fuck not? I'm like that person. And yeah, again, like with Aliens Vasquez, I had some wiggle room where I could say, yeah, why the hell not? Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's bring in some new stuff, which I loved doing.
Just there like how Chelbie was like, yes, I would like to come rub some horses for the weekend. See how that fits in with my life plan.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. That is it's like those unexpected things are often, I feel like the universe steering you where you need to be. And you see that like in a lot of the things I write, people getting steered to their destiny.
Like a nudge.
Mm-hmm. You got it. You got to listen to that.
All right. So Las Posadas is a Christmas novelette. Can you give us just a tiny little pitch for that so people can put it underneath their little Christmas chili tree?
Yeah, that's up now. Yeah, it's only ebook. So you just like download it, read it, enjoy it. Basically Las Posadas is a lead up to Christmas that celebrates traditionally Mary and Joseph when they actually get invited into the inn where they couldn't find anything, and then into the barn and celebrating like welcoming. And so has all this tradition. But I wanted to set it, with a character who's, a lot of times Christmas is a lonely time. And it's not always joyous and it's not always filled with family. But I wanted someone who had been alone for some Christmases and felt that longing and wanted to have that Hallmark kind of dream and, very, like some very nice fantasy involved. But of course I write horror, so there's going to be some like blood or creatures and some dead bodies and maybe a dead body hanging stuffed with garbage and straw. You just never know.
Garbage and straw, come on, it's Christmas. Candy canes.
Tinsel.
Tinsel.
Candy cane.
Well,
We'll
she
see.
does
We'll have
make
to
a
read
pot
it.
of pozole full of garlic, lots of garlic, and it saves her, and it's a useful weapon against vampires. Who knew?
As
knew?
it turns out.
So totally other world, Haunting of Alejandra. This brings the Mexican La Llorona to life. Did this have anything to do with the film La Llorona not exactly being the very best possible
Not
use
at
of that
all.
character?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Actually, this is a little more serious. The Haunting of Alejandra, it has La Llorona because I really wanted to tie in, postnatal depression, mental health. What would drive, because the story is she killed herself and killed her children over a relationship. But I was like, what would really drive a mother to do that, or any parent, anyone?
Right, you
You
kill the guy, you don't kill your kid.
Exactly. So I was like, what? Where did this originate? And going through my own struggles after having my last child, I was like, I think we need to talk about this, like where you're really, I was never at that point, but being in a really dark place, and how generational trauma, and not talking about mental health creates this demon. It feeds this demon. It can consume you and consume others around you and consume other generations. So I take it all the way back to the Spanish conquest, La Llorona, at the origins, all the way to modern time. And yeah, it's really personal. It's really deep. And I just hope that, and from what people have said, they really feel it, and they connect to the characters. So that's really positive, because
so now.
Yeah, you can pre-order that for April. A lot of cool stuff coming with that. Yeah, and actually December 6th, Out of Aztlan comes out. That's a short story collection. I have
You
like
never
so
stop.
much. I know. I love it. I love creating. It's just like it's like breathing, and if I can do it, then I do it.
I feel like if you weren't on with us right now, you'd be in that car line working on your next thing, like your another book.
You know what? Actually, tonight after the kids go to bed, I have a thing I'm going to work on. So, because I just have the idea, so I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Let's bring our pal Chelbie back, and I have a question for both of you, because it seems like you both landed this. Chelbie, you could do anything, and there's a lot of jobs you could have done that wouldn't have been as fun as squeezing horses' necks. What do you say to people who aren't necessarily, following what they think they could actually be good at and contribute to?
Once you find what you're good at and what you love, you enjoy going to work. There's so many people in the world and in the US that dread going to work every day, that it's a drain. By the time they get home, there's nothing left for families. There's nothing left to give anyone else, because they're giving all day. And I have the opposite of that. I go to work, I have fun, I enjoy what I do, I get to play around with everybody that I meet. I get to joke, I get to have fun. Sometimes I forget to eat. A lot of times I forget to eat because you're just hanging around and having a good time. But I get home in the evenings and I still have time for my family. I still have time to work with my dog or to work with my own horses, because I'm not drained like I was when I was full-time in veterinary medicine. I only came off full-time from veterinary medicine just a couple of years ago, but at the end of the day, from dealing with people and the problems and all the issues, you were drained. You would give and give and give all day. I left the job in management from training and everything else. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to do what I love. And after that, I haven't really worked a day. It's been a blast.
Leslie says creativity is a beautiful thing. I think she must be talking to V. I will say I have never forgotten to eat. I've forgotten many, many other things. My kids' middle names, appointments. Never have I
I
forgotten.
do that.
Not me. I would have a sandwich on the horses, like the shelf in the barn, just like in case.
A little ice cooler, like in the
You know, you gotta plan ahead. That's all it is.
V, what's your
Yeah.
take? What's your advice?
You know what? My advice is you've got to follow your gut and your intuition. Like, kind of like Chelbie's story. I love that. Yeah, why not? I'll go on this weekend. And it just kind of like clicked. Same with me. I had this dream that was so vivid years ago. You know, I've been doing this for like 6 years now. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you haven't done it that long. And look, what you've accomplished. It's because that it's the thing. It's the thing. And I followed it. I had that dream and I just said, I really need to write this. And it was the first book I ever wrote. And I just couldn't stop. And yes, it was a long road to publication. Yes, it wasn't easy. Yes, I'm not saying you find your soul purpose or, the thing that you love and it's going to be like smooth sailing. No, but that is what's going to separate you in your journey from other people. That's what's going to separate you from failure or success, is by persevering through those obstacles. But if you really love it and you really have that passion, it's almost like, you know what, it's fucking worth it. And I completely, say, go for it, listen to it. Because again, like Chelbie said, life's too short to be miserable. It really is. It really is. And even if you can't do that thing full time to start, like, make a plan to where you can, see where life is moving. And, I've actually started writing kind of it's a side project, a book about this very thing, because I get asked these questions all the time, and it's all about helping people find their soul purpose and to keep them motivated when you you encounter those obstacles, to push through them. But yeah, it's one of those things you also have to be open to, because it's easy to say, well, things will never change. I can never find it. And what about this? What about that? What about, like if you have the attitude like, oh, what about all these issues around finding my soul purpose? What am I, it'll never happen. If you have that attitude, then it'll never show up. But if you're open to, I really want to do something awesome and what I'm meant to do, it will show up. You just have to be brave enough to follow it.
Deb says you sound uber productive and she loves it. Carol says, forgetting to eat happens to me when I find a glorious state of flow. There is no state of flow glorious enough for me to forget to eat. Like, sorry and stuff.
I got a bag of pretzels next to me, so I'm flowing with that too.
Yeah, right?
It's a
You
flow.
Doesn't interrupt your flow to like take a bite of something. I can manage. Even like yogurt is not going to interrupt your flow. Like, it's just not.
I just have like the snacks next to the
or even a Go-Gurt. Come on, yogurt.
Go-Gurt.
Plastic bag. All right, listen, we're at this part of the show.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
I don't know. There's so much good chitter chatter going on.
Who's gonna be? I know they have like many rich conversations in the comments.
Just Leslie, because
for good morning.
Yep, just for good morning. That was a great quote. No, just Leslie in general. I just scrolled around and picked Leslie because creativity is a beautiful thing, isn't it? That's what I think. Hey, we've come to the part of the show where we ask every single guest the same question. This has been everybody.
V gets to double dip.
Yeah, yep. And we've asked everybody from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Sister Anne Flanagan the question, what goes in your backpack? Could be something physical, could be something metaphorical. Carrie, what's something physical you throw in a backpack?
Extra set of teeth.
You
never know.
You never know when you're going to need
DJ Cumberbund suggested that one.
Is there something metaphorical you could add to a backpack?
Kindness.
It's a good idea.
Ariel Helvetica, burlesque performer, put kindness in the backpack. She can afford to be kind. She's got like legs up to here. She can be gracious.
Engle, when you're not squeezing a horse's Charlie horse, what would you add to the backpack?
Perseverance. I'll pull off a V for that one. Perseverance is a big thing. It took me many years to get to where I am right now, and pushing through. And it's the answer is no to every question you don't ask.
Oh,
Yes.
I like that
Love
one.
it.
Do you think when a horse has a Charlie horse, he just says he has a Charlie me? V. Castro.
No, but it'll let you know pretty quick.
Yeah, I think he'll communicate. V. Castro, you get a bonus. So what do you add to the backpack?
Oh my God. I'll tell you, it's a physical thing because lately I've always put it in my backpack. My tarot card deck. I always have a tarot card deck. I love it. Like whenever I go to cons or with my friends, are like, can we pull some cards? Will you pull some cards? I'm like, yes, I'll pull cards. Let's do this.
Has it ever
And then
affected
they
your
get-
decision
And
making?
then
Are
they
you
get the
like, oh no?
tower or the devil or something. They're like, I don't want it. I'm
Unless
like,
it's
"Too
upside
late."
down.
Yeah,
Something.
fate has spoken. But yeah,
That's not
tarot
okay.
deck.
A tarot
like-
deck. So
Yeah.
I just went to Google and I said, hey, I think I'll take a random tarot card, please. And I got the Tower.
Oh
So-
no.
Oh,
Oh no.
I
Expect
have
the
done
unexpected
terribly wrong.
change, unexpected news.
I don't like that card.
It's okay, just throw it away.
Where did you
I-
get it? We should all pull one now, like randomtarotcard.com. Is that what we're doing?
I
got the
that from
Empress.
randomtarotcard.com.
Ooh, Empress. So yes, you're you're on the top, girl. You're birthing something new. You're beautiful. You're shining.
I got the
Wow.
Empress. I
Well,
feel like I
everybody
have to
check out, I
prove
guess,
it.
randomtarotcard.com as well. I
There
can
it
tell
is.
you, very beautiful. What a fine
Yeah,
card
look at her.
in her PJs.
She's wearing a smart dress you can like eat when you got that on, and you know I don't forget that. So,
So,
nothing too clinging.
a lot of times I tell a fictitious story about my grandmother to end the show, but this is a real story. My Grammy is notorious for pointing, or was notorious for pointing her fingers near horses. Guess what horses think a finger is? And guess how many times she had her little digit chomped on by a delightful horse? I will count. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro,